Hello everyone, it was a long time since my last video, but I'm coming with information which might be interesting and useful for you. As you know, or not, Aion 6.0 brings huge rework for game, including character and item statistics. So let's look closely into new stats. We're gonna test them, calculate, find new formulas and check the limits. We are going to start with quick overview on changes in statistics. On the left side of the screen you can see stats listed in character profile before 6.0. On the right side we have stats from new patch. Some of them didn't get changed, but some got reworked or renamed. Attack and all magical attack becomes weapon attack, and it will affect only our auto attack damage. Magic boost becomes new magic attack. Old physical defense and magical defense becomes physical defense reduction and magical defense reduction. But these stats will be able to spot only in old items and they are quite worthless, so we shouldn't bother with it. Magic suppression becomes new magic defense. Crit strike resist, spell resist, crit strike fortitude, spell fortitude and elemental resist got removed from all items and skills. There were also PvP, PvE attack and defense percentage values. You will see these stats only in old items, but as far I know, these stats don't affect damage formulas at all. In the other hand, we have new physical attack, which obviously increase our physical damage. There is also new physical defense, which works the same as old magic suppression, new magic defense, but against physical damage. Basically, it will decrease 1-to-1 amount of physical attack of enemy who is attacking us. It makes new physical defense valuable stat and we shouldn't forget about it when we gonna plan our set builds. And finally we have new stats named additional PvP, PvE attack and defense. This will increase our PvP, PvE damage and defense in the same way as magical physical attack and defense. For example, one PvP attack is equal to one magical attack and one physical attack versus other players. We'll get deeper and check how exactly it increases our damage and defense in the next part of video, where I'm going to show you new damage formulas. Let's start from magical damage in PvE. This is the formula I figured out after running many tests. How to read it? Okay, so to calculate our damage we're gonna need few things. First, skill damage is the value you can find on your skills tooltip. Second, your magic attack and PvE attack. Can find it in your character's profile. Third, enemy's magical defense. We need to figure it out how much magic defense has our target. I checked out some mobs in Lockroom and I had from 3922 up to 8725 magic and physical defense. How to do it? Prepare PvP set, so we'll have 0 PvE attack and it won't mess our calculations. Take off some of your items, start hitting a mob with low magic attack. Increase your stats by wearing items one by one and test your damage each time your magic attack increased. If your damage stays the same, it means that mob still has more magic defense than our magic attack. Finally, when damage starts increasing, it's sign that our magic attack exceeds text subject magic defense. Thanks to that, we can estimate value that we are looking for. Enemy's PvE defense. As far I know, mobs have 0 PvE defense, but we cannot be sure that it won't change in future patches, so I still include this stat in formula. Base knowledge. We don't see base stats in character profile anymore, but all classes kept these unique attributes and it's 94 Engineer, 100 for Priest, Artist and Gunner, 105 for Cleric and Ethertech, 110 for Bard, 115 for Mage Spirit Master, and 124 Sorcerer. Why do we need this part in formula? Well, I think the damage formula uses base skill damage, which isn't necessarily the same as the one visible on skills tooltip. For example, Priest with 100 knowledge has Infernal Blaze level 1 with 112 damage, but Cleric with 105 knowledge has Infernal Blaze level 1 with 117 damage. Thanks to that, we can figure it out. The skills damage on tooltip is equal to base skill damage multiplied by character knowledge divided by 100 and rounded down. So if you want to find the base skill damage, we need to reverse the equation, and this is how we get that part in the damage formula. Character's level. You can see that formula has two cases. Why? Just because every class gets attack boost passive, on level 76 and it increases our damage by 200%. So when we know everything, we can calculate our damage. To our skill damage from tooltip, we are adding skill damage multiplied by 100 and divided by our knowledge, and rounded up, and then multiplied by sum of our magic attack and PvE attack, reduced by sum of target's magic defense and PvE defense, and this we divide by 1000. Just keep in mind that if sum of target's magic defense and PvE defense is higher than sum of our magic attack and PvE attack, we take 0 here. Finally, we multiply everything by 200% if our character is level 76 or higher, and at the end we round the result. Let's make some calculations to confirm that formula is correct. We're gonna make it by using Infernal Blaze skill with 947 damage. My magic attack is 10,885, PvE attack is 1293 and mob's magic defense is 3922. So 947 plus 947 multiplied by 100 and divided by 105 and rounded up, then multiplied by sum of 10,885 and 1293 reduced by 3922, and this difference divided by 1000, then result multiplied by 200% and rounded. As you can see, we got the same result as battle chat shows. I have done a lot of tests and it looks good. If you want to try the formula by yourself, remember that shards and moving forward also increase your damage. Okay, but why do we want to know formula in first place? Well, we can use it to calculate our damage on different builds. For example, we can compare full crit spell and full magic attack sets and check out which one will boost our DPS more. We'll talk about it on the next video where I will show you some possible clerics builds and we're gonna think which one is worth and which it's not. With PvP magic damage formula, everything looks the same, we just need to include PvP modifier, which apparently is 26% in 6.2. This was the only number that matched, so calculations were correct. Also, don't forget that enemy player will have strength and defense passive if he is level 76 or higher. This will decrease our damage on him by 50%. Physical damage formula is quite similar to magical one. We need to switch magic attack with physical attack, magic defense with physical defense, knowledge with power, which is 100 for scout and ranger, 110 for warrior, assassin, enchanter, 115 for gladiator and templar. Just one thing, apparently physical damage formula takes base skill damage twice, that's why I move it out of the bracket. With PvP physical damage, we do the same thing we did to PvP magical damage formula, just include PvP modifier and strength and defense passive for enemy players with level 76 or higher. After gathering data, I found out breakpoints for each percent of chance to deal critical damage. You can see it on the left side of screen. Crit spell and crit strike have exactly the same breakpoints. As far I know, there is no cap for critical chance, but probably won't be able to reach more than 44% even with Endgore gear, perfect stats, Almana stones in crit spell crit strike and Lunamon cheer buff, which you can buy for 10 Luna in instance. On the right side of screen you can see chart. It shows relationship between percent for critical hit and amount of crit spell crit strike. This is exponential function and it means that each next breakpoint requires more crit spell crit strike than previous one. Critical damage multiplier is the same as always and it's 1.5 for magical damage. For physical damage it depends on the weapon which you are wearing and it's 2.3 for dagger, 2.2 for sword, 2.0 for mace, 1.8 for greatsword and polearm and 1.7 for bow and staff. Magic resist and evasion also shares the same breakpoints and you can see them in the table. As far I know, there are no hard caps for these stats, but looking on the chart we can see that relationship between percent for dodge resist and amount of evasion magic resist reduced by enemy's accuracy magic accuracy is not linear like it was in the previous updates. It means that it will be hard to get high chance for resist dodge, but it's a topic for next video where we are going to look closely into set builds. Parry and block also shares the same breakpoints and you can see them on the left side of the screen. This task probably doesn't have any cap, but once again we can see exponential function on chart which shows relationship between percent of chance for parrying blocking a hit and amount of parry block reduced by enemy's accuracy. And again, it means for us that we won't be able to get on a high percent of chance to parry block a hit. Maximum of damage reduction from shield is 70% like in previous patch, leaving aside special shields like Luminal Phaeton. But it looks a little bit different when it comes to enchanting it. Old shield gave us already 70% on +10. It was 2% for each level till +10. New shields give us 70% on +15, and it's 1% on each level till +12, and then 2% on +13, 14, and 4% on +15. As you might remember, healing boost was capped at 1000 in previous updates. It's not the case anymore. You can go beyond that, and it won't be that hard to do it. This is the formula to calculate restored HP. We are going to need few things. First, skills based healing. This is the value you can find on healing skills tooltip. Second, buffs that increase skills based healing, and these are healing boost passive and blessed shield. Third, amount of our healing boost. You can find it in character's profile. Fourth, buffs that increase whole healing effect, and these are Noble Grace, Celerity Mantra, and Melody of Joy. Let's make a quick test to confirm that formula is correct. We're gonna do this with Light of Recovery, which base healing is 1641. We have healing boost passive, which increase our skill base healing by 10%, and we are going to use Blessed Shield, which increase our skill base healing by 100%. We have 713 healing boost plus 1100 from amplification. We're gonna use also Noble Grace, which increase the whole healing effect by 50%. After getting the result, we can see that it's exactly the same as combat chat shows. If you want to run own test, don't forget the new shards also increase our heals. Caps for attack and cast speed are the same as in previous patch, and it's 75% for cast speed and 50% for attack speed with one exception. Kaizenel form is the only one exclusive thing in the game which actually goes beyond the cap of attack speed, and with that we can reach 60%. Without that we are still capped at 50%, and it doesn't matter if we have legendary form with 45%, weapon with 19%, it still will be 50% cap. So here we have equation for attack speed and cast speed. Just remember that value showed in character's profile is rounded up to first decimal place. So for example, having 75% cast speed reduction, it will show us 0.3, but for real is 0.25. Let's test cast speed. We'll do it on Radiant Cure, which has 3-second cast time. First, we are using skill having 1.0 cast speed. We are measuring time between showing up and disappearing cast bar. For 1.0 cast speed, it takes 3 seconds like it should. Now we are going to use Transformation with 45% cast speed reduction, Mace with 7% and Sage of Wisdom with 50%. So we're gonna reach cap of 75%, which gives us 0.25 cast speed. We stop at frame just before cast bar shows up. We start measuring, and this is the last frame before cast speed disappears. As you can see, it took 0.75 of second, which is exactly 1/4 of 3 seconds. I know cast bar doesn't go to the end, but it's normal for short cast time. You can see that cast bar is already gone in next frame. That's all what I prepared for you. I hope it was clear and useful. Like I mentioned before, I have plans to make another video about cleric builds. I can't promise, but I will try to make it before we get 6.2 on live servers. Thanks for watching and see ya next time.